Ooh, that looks tasty. Today, the Hungry Gamer is back with another crowdfunding preview, and today we're talking about Sprocketforge, designed by Ananda Gunaratne. And I do apologize if I mispronounced that name. Now, what this game is this is a Euro game that is mostly about contract fulfillment. But in order to fulfill those contracts, you're going to be generating mana through this gear system right down here. And as you're playing through the game, you'll be adding upgrades to your gears and new gears, enchantments they're called, but ways to produce more mana, and then you'll be using the mana to fulfill the various contracts that you'll be collecting throughout the game. And occasionally you'll be destroying these in order to change them up and gain mana. Now, if you are not interested in how this game is played and just want to jump into my final thoughts, then you want to go to the timestamp on the screen right now. For those of us still here, let's talk about how this game is played. The game is relatively simple. On your turn, you are going to take an action, and you have 4 different actions that you can take. You can do a produce action, which means you'll gain the color of mana that is in the bottom section of your gears. In this case, I have 2 blues, and you'll have the opportunity to do any upgrades that are also in that zone. In this case, I can take 1 order. I'll just go ahead and grab this one right here. And then when you take an action, every other player gets to do a follow action. So with the produce action, every other player would be allowed to gain any one type of mana from the 4 types that we have, or they could rotate their gears 1 position, like so. There is take orders, which allows you to take common orders, noble orders, or merchant orders, either from the market here or the top of the deck, and you take 3 of those. And I'll just grab a common one right here. And of course, then I could take 2 others, and every other player could take 1 merchant order from the top of the deck, or again, rotate their gears. You can do a cleanup, which means you can get rid of 3 mana from your vent up there, and anytime you use mana to fulfill an order, it gets vented. If at any point you have over 12, then you lose victory points for each one. And as a follow action, any other player could remove 1 of their vented mana, or again, rotate their gears. Or you can do a petition, which means if you have earned one of these favors, and you earn those by completing various contracts, you can turn one in to accomplish one of these house goals that are out here. And all these house goals have a variety of different requirements, usually with how much vented mana you have. So in this case, if I had 0 through 4 vented mana, which I do, I could draw 2 favors, which are these, and keep one and discard the other. Now the favors matter because they're actually worth points at the end of the game. However, you can also turn these things in for these other contracts, these house petitions here, which give you points and a bonus. Then every other player, if they also qualify, they can turn in one of their petitions, they can turn in one of their favors in order to just gain the points, but they don't gain the bonus ability. And then at the end of your turn, you will rotate your gears like so. And then any mana that you did not use to fulfill a contract, and you can fulfill as many contracts on your turn as you would like. In this case, I could fulfill this one, which just takes any 1 mana, which would get vented. I'd get 0 points, but I could take one of these 3 new enchantments from my gears, and I could drop it in like so. As I was mentioning, any mana that you have not used, you have to store. And that mana you store on the blank spaces on these gears. And what's going to happen is, and at some point later on you might decide, okay, I need that mana so I can accomplish one of these orders. So I can remove the entire gear. So I would gain this mana and this mana. Then I would get to do an immediate produce, which would give me nothing here. But if it had been facing, say, that way, then I would also gain 1 blue and get to take an order. I'll just grab that one right here. And then this would all go away. But by doing that, I've gained all this mana. So now I could accomplish this one right here, which would cost me 2 blue and a brown, and would reward me with 3 points, and I can trash 4 vented mana, like so. Now at the very end of your turn, you will simply rotate your gears 1 space. and then it's the next player's turn. And you're going to go around and around like that until one player gets to 30 points, and that will trigger the end of the game. At which time everyone will get to do one more produce action and try to accomplish any of the remaining orders that they have. And that's how this game works. So, what do I like about this game? The first thing is you cannot beat the really cool gears and the way you're turning and twisting them and changing what it is you're able to produce, and you just can't beat that. It's really, really clever. It's really fun to just play with it. And it actually adds for kind of an interesting little puzzle as you're trying to figure out, okay, well, I'm going to turn this, I'm going to turn this that way, and I'm going to get this and this, and just it's a clever little gimmick that I think pays out and is necessary to the function of the game. So maybe that's not a gimmick, but it is very clever. It's very neat. I also like how you are constantly enchanting them, giving it different things that you'll be able to build, but also that's where you're storing extra mana, which you'll then have access to when the time is right later on. I think that all works quite well. I think it's pretty darn clever, I think. And honestly, that is what makes this game work as a lighter weight Euro. It's just very clever with some interesting decisions, but it's not particularly hard to decide what direction that you want to go. Along with that, it's a pretty easy game to teach. It's pretty easy to learn. It's not very complicated in any way, shape, or form, and I think that works for this particular game. Along with that, I like the way that everyone always has some kind of option to do something on other people's turns. And the way that follow action works, even though it's just one little thing you get to do, can be really valuable. Sometimes you get to do that one little thing, like, oh, good, now I can do this big turn that I thought I was going to have to wait to do. Or if you don't have anything particularly useful, just sometimes that ability to just go rotate those gears one space suddenly unlocks a whole bunch of options for you. And I think those things together is what makes this game one that is intriguing. So what are my quibbles with the game? Well, you're constantly destroying your engine because when you store mana, it goes on these gears, and if you want it, you have to disenchant it. Boom, you blow it up, you lose the upgrade, you lose everything that's there. Yes, you get to take extra actions, which can be very good, but you're losing the thing as you go. And so it can feel sometimes like, well, I'm just building this thing to break it. And that might not be the type of thing you're looking for. If you're looking to build this engine that does cool stuff, you're not going to build this engine that does all kinds of cool stuff because you got to break the dumb thing to keep getting the points. And then the last thing I'll say is that there's not a ton of discovery in this game. Once you've played the game, you got it. Now, there will be ways to get better, and the way cards come out will change, the way gear enchantments come out will change the thing, but once you've played the game, you understand what it's going to be. That's not necessarily bad. I mean, how many times have you played games over and over again that you just like? But it's always going to be the same game. Now, I don't know if they have expansions in the works. I don't know if maybe they have different gear setups. That would certainly change things. I don't know. There you have it, folks. This is a clever little game. It looks very cool. I think the designer is local to me in the Bay Area. I actually met him briefly at KublaCon. I tried to chat with him, but he was busy or something. I don't know. It just didn't happen. But so I didn't actually get to find out if he's local. But I think he's a local guy, which, we should support local designers. If you're local to me. If you're not, well, support someone that's not from your area. But there you have it, folks. That is Sprocketforge. If you're looking for a lightweight game that has some fun toy factor to it, then this might be one that you want to check out. So there you have it, folks. As always, if you found this video useful, please like, subscribe, share, maybe become a channel member. As always, thank you so much for watching. Have a wonderful, wonderful day.